Reading of Paige Papillon Paranormal Mysteries Book 1, Daunting Darkness. Bit of backstory for time. Paige has received an anonymous tip to go to a warehouse that she finds is filled with random evidence that looks straight out of a paranormal novel that she enjoys reading. What she found inside the boxes appeared to be personnel files, but for whom? There was no company name, just a stamped seal, the bat that looked straight out of the angel files. This case had a D next to the P, and Paige soon found out what that letter stood for. Every single file she opened had a large red deceased stamped under it. Under the garish words, she could make out statistics and information on the people. Tiny passport photos were included in the forms. A handsome man with dark curls, a blonde man with a mustache, a smirking man with a black buzz cut. All were gone, and there were only 3 of about 100 files in this box alone. But the dead told her nothing, unless they were this killer's previous victims. If so, that meant this wasn't an ordinary serial killer. This was a bloodthirsty monster. She decided to check another box of people who might be alive. She went up the ladder again, and as she grabbed another box and began to climb back down, a smaller stack began to sway from her movements. The topmost box fell over with an echoing crash. This was locked, but the fall shattered the rusty lock, spilling its contents all over the cement floor. As she glanced at the mess, she saw something that made her heart stutter in her chest. What was in the box looked like employee IDs for what appeared to be the FBI and MI5 in England. Dozens of them, all with different names and addresses, even different hairstyles, but all with the same face. Vera King's face. Paige gasped, glancing at the IDs. You could tell Vera once had over 24 aliases. Some were variations of her name and others more unusual. Once, she even used the Angel St. Vincent as a code name, as well as variations of the word. One place out of all the locations and more photographs that she didn't recognize was in England. There was no date and just the sentence, "First murder," where the monster was created. The file the photos had fallen out of detailed a serial killer, except the killer was described as a vampire, which Paige knew was impossible. Vampires weren't real. Of course not. Yet, the file didn't state that vampire was a code name. It acted like that was the killer's species. At the end of the file was one of the aliases Vera used, along with another man's name, and it read, "Executed suspect, downtown Chicago, November 2014. What on earth, Paige muttered. Vera didn't look like a housewife and novelist. She looked like Angel St. Vincent from the books. In an instant, everything she thought she knew about her benefactress went out the window, and she was questioned everything. Was Vera a murderer? Had she decapitated people with that sword on her hip? Did John know, or was he in the dark? Or worse, was he knowingly harboring a killer? When Paige was trying to make sense of all this, she heard the grating sound of the metal door opening behind her. She quickly began to stand, but before she could reach for her gun or even turn around, she heard a distinct click of a safety being disengaged. "This is private property. Hands up and turn around slowly before I turn you into Swiss cheese." Paige knew that voice, though it gave her little comfort now. Vera?